Hello and welcome to Gamezillong Gaming, and today I'll be taking a look at Zone of the Enders for the PlayStation 2. At least that's what I had originally intended, but unfortunately my copy kicks me back to the PS2 menu whenever I try to save. Luckily, my recycled balls happen to have a copy of the HD collection for the Xbox 360, so we'll be reviewing the HD port of Zone of the Enders instead.
The Jupiter colony of Antilia is under attack from Bahram, an anti-Earth military organization from Mars. Bahram's forces have attacked the colony in search of a pair of robots called orbital frames being stored within Antilia. A young boy, Leo Stenbuck, desperate to escape the chaos of the battle, ends up finding one of the orbital frames, Jehuti, and reluctantly pilots it, with the aid of the frame's AI, Ada, in order to survive the battle that has engulfed the colony, and hopefully save the people he cares about.
It kind of reminds me of the initial plot of Mobile Suit Gundam, by which I mean the first episode and nothing else. Overall, the plot is different enough, and of course, instead of being a show, it's a video game with gameplay.
The gameplay focuses heavily on high-speed battle, and since Jehuti is a machine capable of flight, you can battle enemies near the ground or high in the air. The combat is fun, even giving the player strong charge attacks and a grab that, while strong at first, gradually becomes pretty useless. Also, the more enemies you defeat, the more experience Jehuti gains, allowing the machine to level up, though the max level you can reach is level 8, and even then the enemies can be tough, though not ridiculously so. It's just a shame that, aside from the bosses, there are only 3 types of enemies in the entire game. As you progress through the game, there are cutscenes that reveal more of the plot. Unfortunately, there's some stuff the game never actually explains, like what an Ender even is.
For the record, it's a derogatory term for a person who doesn't live on Earth.
Even more unfortunately, the plot isn't terribly complex or interesting. While Leo's reluctance to get involved in the fighting that's occurring is an interesting viewpoint, it doesn't stop the player from fighting at any chance they get if they feel so inclined. Also, the graphics of the cutscenes aren't that great, and somehow look worse in the HD port. Gameplay graphics look amazing, though. The game encourages exploration of the colony to find neat extras such as secret or rare sub-weapons, with more areas being accessed the further along the story gets. But the final third of the game is the very definition of linear. It completely railroads the player to the point you can't even travel to other areas after a certain point. And on the topic of sub-weapons, I didn't use them very much, instead using the standard attacks far more often to brute force my way through fights. It would have been nice if the game allowed you to train to use the sub-weapons effectively, like it does with teaching you the basics of how to play the game. But I never got used to how several of the sub-weapons function, such as Phalanx, which is utterly useless in open areas, i.e. most areas of the game, and others I just never used, such as the rare Mummy sub-weapon. Beating the game gives you access to a versus mode, allowing you to control many of the orbital frames from the game in a 1v1 match, pitting you against either the computer or another player. However, given how few standard enemies there are in the game, and the fact you can't use the big bosses in this mode, it's not terribly interesting.
Revisiting this game after quite a few years, I have to admit, it hasn't aged as well as I would have liked. It's not a bad game, but you can definitely tell that they were trying something new. This wasn't even the end of it. There was a prequel movie, a TV series, a Game Boy Advance game that I don't have a copy of, as well as a sequel, which has much better animation. The series could have been big, but it wasn't different enough from Gundam to leave much of a mark. But hey, they did release an HD port of the first 2 games, as well as a VR game much more recently as well. So, as small as it may be, it did leave a mark. Until next time, this is me, Protoman. See ya.